Previously on TVSins.
This is out. And out is one of the single most enjoyable experiences of life.
From the couch, I can tell you that out is absolutely not even on the top 5 list of enjoyable experiences in life. Just real quick, sex, pizza, pizza after sex after pizza, and sex pizza. And I didn't even get to roller coasters. Many people forget this show was called Seinfeld Chronicles, and for good reason. This title makes the show sound like it's actually about something.
Not one person here is home. We're all out.
Super glad you cleared that up for me. I was very confused about where I was and why I was wasting my time on this chuckle bar. You've reminded me of my mistake, and as a sign of appreciation, I'll remain seated until this mediocre stand-up segment has concluded.
There are people trying to find us. They don't know where we are.
Well, unless you count the debt collector, I'm pretty sure nobody is wondering where I am.
See, now to me, that button's in the worst possible spot. Look at it. It's too high.
Jerry, you are literally wearing a t-shirt that is clamping your trachea shut, a 1/4 inch from your Adam's apple. Worry about your own wardrobe. Also, which button is he actually talking about? He mentions the second button, but I think he's actually referring to the top button and not giving the collar button its own designation, which it has to have because that's only used in the event of a tie or an Ed Grimley impersonation. Seinfeld didn't quite know how to Seinfeld yet. Yep, in honor of Mr. Feld, we will continue to pound this clothing thing into the pavement. What's the deal with wearing text-based t-shirts under an overshirt? Is no one else distracted by the purr peeking out? Even if I'm smart enough to deduce that it's a property of t-shirt, property of what? Whose property is he?
Mr. Seinfeld, Mr. Costanza.
Welcome to the Expositional Cafe, where we make sure our servers call you by name each time they pour your coffee, just in case an audience is meeting them for the first time.
Trust me, George, no one has any interest in seeing you on caffeine.
George is now holding a cup of coffee, even though Claire never poured it and he never picked up the cup in the previous shop.
God bless! Devil you!
There's a reason these two statements are usually kept apart. God doesn't bless devils. Everybody knows that. They were clearly not able to afford the best extras at this point. What is this guy reacting to?
Jerry, I have to tell you something. This is the dullest moment I've ever experienced.
To be fair, he hadn't done that guest spot on Criminal Minds yet.
Look at, he's got everything. He's got detergent, sprays, fabric softener. This is not his first load.
Are they making fun of a man who came to the laundromat prepared to do laundry? Why is this funny? It is literally expected. Also, does Jerry even have an inside voice? It's a wonder these characters made it 2 episodes without getting accosted by someone who was tired of hearing their extraneous conversations.
I can't believe we already discussed this!
Revisiting this conversation literally brought George to his knees. That's called acting, ladies and gentlemen. Well, technically overacting, but it's still a form of acting. Also, if I ever had a friend drop to their knees and beg me to stop talking, I think that might be the end of our friendship. This woman spends 4 seconds fully pouring liquid detergent into the washer and is now seemingly confused. Close the lid and start the water. Okay, reach on in there with your hands and mush it all around. That's what normal people do. Yep, and then take those icky hands and touch clean laundry. Also, it says a lot when the main character's interaction is so boring I would rather judge laundry technique.
That's a signal.
Show has a laugh track. Seriously, Costanza just snapped a few times and we get 2 full seconds of guffaws.
You can't overdye. You can't overdry.
But you can overlie, oversigh, overhigh. Or so I hear.
Laundry day is the only exciting day in the life of clothes.
Another absolute statement that is false. I clothes hate laundry day because it means the individuality they express through stains and smells is washed away. I honor my clothes by re-wearing them until I offend someone so terribly they wash the clothes for me.
The washing machine is the nightclub of clothes. You know, it's dark, there's bubbles happening, they're all kind of dancing around in there.
Jerry Seinfeld taught me that bubble raves were born in '89 when people did the thumbs out hitchhike twist.
So they're showing me on television the detergents for getting out blood stains. Is this a violent image to anybody? Blood stains?
Jerry has clearly never had a bloody nose, a knee-scraped child, or a girlfriend. Sweatpants. Jerry is in the very definition of lounge clothes. How is he so uncomfortable that he needs to untuck cotton from cotton? This is clearly Barry B. Benson flexing on Robin Williams for the Hairy Man of 1989 award.
Kessler, it's a tape!
Kessler. He just called him Kessler, and now I have no choice but to believe that Kramer has an identical twin named Kessler that lived next to Jerry for a single episode in 1989. He then disappeared mysteriously and was never mentioned again. I suspect George.
I avoided human contact all night to watch this.
Considering no actual humans are Mets fans, this shouldn't have been that hard. I know people say this is a show about nothing, like it's a compliment, but we're 10 minutes into this thing, and if it's not going to be that funny, I'd actually like the show to be about at least a little bit of something.
That's right!
Not sure how Kessler is reacting to a game that Jerry clearly paused a few seconds ago and never unpaused. Do you want ants? Because this is how you get ants.
I don't believe it. That was her. She wants to stay here.
born in 1989 when this statement was compelling enough to cut to commercial. It's quite possible the best thing this show ever did in the later episodes was ditch this music.
My father was moving this. He'd have to have a cigarette in his mouth the whole way. Have you got your end? Your end's got to come down first. Easy now. Drop it down. Drop it down. Your end's got to come down.
Is it me? Jerry is not funny. The only acceptable response from George is to demand he never use that joke on stage with a live audience. Any other reaction is a disservice to society.
What do you need? A flag? This is the signal, Jerry.
Who keeps a handkerchief the size of a pillowcase in their pocket?
He really likes you, George.
Well, that's flattering.
He's getting a drink of water.
This joke earned 7 seconds of audience laughter, and I don't believe for 1 second a dog drinking from the toilet has ever been that funny.
Why even give her an option for?
Climaxing with the preposition.
Let me just wipe the sink.
And the bathroom floor because the dog has been in there sloshing water out of the bowl for a full minute, which is a lot of time in dog ears. In a 23-minute show, you can't have 12 minutes of stand-up. What's the deal with all the stand-up?
Wouldn't it be great if you could ask a woman what she's thinking?
You can, in fact, literally ask a woman what she is thinking.
Well, that was an interesting greeting. Did you notice that, George?
Yes.
I'm sure Laura is noticing this conversation. I don't mean to belabor this point, but 53% of Jerry's issues could have been avoided if he learned to talk at a lower volume.
Never get engaged.
While all of the other clues about Laura's availability have been gray, this clue is neon. Run, Jerry. She never mentioned being engaged, is already complaining about it, isn't wearing a ring, and said she was on an emotional roller coaster struggling with thinking in we terms. Wolf the wine, cancel the boat ride, and clamp the door to your heart shut.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
You really like him.
Oh, so he wasn't being a possessive prick when he called to make sure you arrived safely in New York and had a nice place to stay. That clears it up. Laura is an asshole.
Women know what men want. Men know what men want.
That's right. This whole pilot is a 22-minute version of a Mel Gibson movie with slightly less sexism. Notice I said slightly.
What do we want? We want women. It's the only thing we know for sure. It really is.
Let's clear up another all-or-nothing Jerry statement. Men don't always want women. Sometimes they want men. Sometimes they want to dress in animal costumes and furry their way toward Ponyland. Sometimes they want to be left alone and live with monks in the mountains. All of these, by the way, are okay. This episode does not contain an Elaine.
I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged. Their feathers are just too bright.
You do, of course, try on when you buy.
Here's a good idea. Have a point.
You're a backup.
Come out to the coast. We'll get together, have a few laughs.
Any questions?
Yes! Several! I mean, what, he has a middle initial now?
America's Got Talent!